My name is Francis Wallington. The person holding the camera is John Smith. And we're here to talk to you about the National Federation of Plus Areas Health and Safety Policies and Procedures, which the NEC are introducing and implementing. This presentation's content will explore the reasons, the why, the how and the when, and who should be doing it. It will cover the legislation and what the consequence, hopefully, of fulfilling these requirements, and what is in our policies and procedures, and the practical steps that you, as a member and an organiser of an event, can do. Have you ever organised an event? If so, what's your first reaction to organising that event? Is it, gosh, excitement? Or is it apathy? More likely, your reaction is fear that you have to bring a plan together and deliver it. In fact, the reaction is, I'm a teapot. What do I do? How do I cope? Consider, if you have organised a number of events, what your reaction would be if in a competition somebody's injured, or you've had a major accident or incident, a piece of scaffolding that you've helped construct for a competition has fallen apart. Is it again fear or panic? How will you cope? How will you make sure that everyone is safe, that you've understood the reasons behind the accident or incident or the injury? How will you cope with the situation of managing the injury? Have you thought about what our organisation is about? Our organisation is about learning from our mistakes. We have permission to make mistakes and to share those mistakes and learn from them and share our experience. Learning by doing, collaborating and working together and sharing experiences. Learning to manage projects. That could be as simple as running a group night activity, a weekend event, marketing, publicity, actually managing the organisation itself. This is where health and safety and our health and safety policies come into play. The A-Team were a group of mercenaries that would come and fight for the good, for the underdog, for the cause of good. They would get themselves into impossible situations and use their own skills and resources to work as a team and whatever was lying about it, around them. Usually, what happens is our plan works and there's something that's added to it by mistake or happenstance. I love it when a plan comes together, and that's the attitude you should adopt in your events and activities. So when we look at our health and safety, we have an expectation. Society expects us to operate in the same rules that industry does in terms of maintaining the safety of individuals, maintaining the safety of our members, but more importantly, the public. That public could be a prospective new member. Okay, we should have regard to the safety of all people who may be watching, observing, or participating in the event. These society is imposing certain constraints on how we operate and perform, and their expectation. Yet we want to continue running, organising events because that's what we do, and that's what we need to do in order to grow as an organisation. Recent legislation such as the Corporate Manslaughter Act brings to the fore that individuals could be sued for their negligence and criminally prosecuted. We have a raft of legislation such as the Health and Safety at Work Act and its derivative regulations such as the Management Regulations 1999, and the need to report accidents or dangerous occurrences under REDOR. If we have an accident or a failure in terms of the machinery or how an event is run, that means that somebody is actually injured or denied the opportunity of working, a member of the family or that injured person could seek compensation for loss of earnings. Alternatively, they could seek to sue the organisers of the events for the negligence that enabled that failure to occur. This brings pressure upon us as organisers to ensure that we are running the event safely and to the best of our ability. So, if we're at the risk of negligence and being sued, we need to protect not only ourselves, but the public, the participants, the organisers, and the volunteers who manage the organisation, because they will be the first port of call if a negligent suit occurs or an investigation occurs from an external agency. That is why we have instituted this, or ask for your participation in the implementation of these health and safety policies and procedures. So what's in it, in the health and safety policy? Well, we have a policy statement. We ask you to complete a risk assessment form, which is not a great obstacle to stop you running an event. It is actually an aid for you to review and provide evidence to the Federation as a whole that you have planned and you are managing the event. It will enable us to liaise with the insurer to ensure that risk is managed and covered. Within the health and safety policies and procedures, there is an incident or near miss procedure. If you as an event organiser have an incident, this gives you a step-by-step guide for you and your team of how to deal with the incident or injury. There will also be, within the policies and procedures, for you to download from the web an investigation report for such incidents or near misses or injuries, as well as a training policy which will suggest how we should answer the needs of and operate safely. Okay, if we look at our health and safety policies, the policy statement contains a statement about the management, the importance of communication and training, that we are, as an organisation, reliant on contractors to deliver a safe venue, a safe event or an activity, be it potholing, abseiling, firewalking or sailing. Those contractors in themselves have third-party public liability insurance and can produce a risk assessment for the activity they've led. We also have a statement about monitoring, because what we want to do is to demonstrate to ourselves and to the world in general that we are delivering what we say we want to deliver in terms of safety, that we are submitting our risk assessments in time and managing those risks. And more importantly, that we periodically review our health and safety policies and our procedures to make sure that they're relevant and appropriate to our situation and to the reality of how the National Federation of Plus Areas actually operates. So let's look at the training policy within our health and safety policies and procedures. We need as an organisation to equip you with the skills to cope with running events and activities, because that's our bread and butter. Running activities, that's how we attract members. So therefore we need to raise your competence and awareness of your skills and abilities and how you manage the event through project management. And possibly we need to encourage volunteers amongst you to become first aiders and to maintain that qualification so that we can provide a service of being able to treat and assess people who are injured at our events, or possibly minimise the opportunity for further injury amongst the individuals when an incident happens. Okay, so what can you do? It's all very well me, Francis and John saying that you shall do this, but what can you do as an ordinary member, an event organiser? Well, the first thing is plan and document your event. You should be doing that anyway, because you actually meet as a group or as a team and record on minute what you're doing and how you do it, and you set agreed actions and fulfill those objectives. Once you've got your plan, you can use your risk assessment form to review your planning to make sure that you're answering the requirements of not only the insurer but the federation and the membership as a whole. So we talk about contractors. Contractors also includes venues, so we must be aware of their fire regulations and their controls. Are the fire escapes available, open, not locked? Do they allow us opportunity to evacuate the building easily? Do we share our experience and our learning? Because obviously people have different experience and knowledge of how to run and organise an event. One of the inherent good things about Plus is the energy and enthusiasm of somebody new to the task or new to the opportunity. So we've got to share that experience and knowledge so that they understand what is being asked, what is required. If you're running an event, clearly define people's roles and duties in the execution and delivery of that event. The one important thing I must stress to you is, if you're going to do a risk assessment and submit a risk assessment, that you submit it in time. That is 8 weeks before your event. That puts pressure on you to plan your event well in advance, to be sure of the marketing, to be sure of how you're going to deliver it, and who is doing what, where and when. On the day we talk about the event, we might use rules. Rules are wonderful ways of ensuring the safety of others, because we can basically grab a crib sheet of rules for, say, Pentac, for football, associated football, touch football, fencing, whatever, and use them and publicise them and say, provide guidance. We need to find a volunteer who's willing to undergo the training to become a first aider. I have stressed earlier to you that you should choose your contractors and venues carefully. Please go and look. Please ask questions of your contractors and interrogate and read your contract for your venue. There'll be rules, terms and conditions that place restrictions on how you run an event. It may be onerous what some of the restrictions are, so then you may have to look elsewhere and choose another contractor. The whole basis of your planning should be a cycle of plan, act, review and do. What can you do? Well, firstly, give us your feedback. Tell us if it's working. If it's not working, please do tell us. Use the documentation that is available to you, that will be downloadable from the website on a SADY webpage. Encourage others to use the same policies and procedures so that we are all working uniformly to the same standard. So what is the consequence of us implementing these health and safety policies and procedures for our membership and for the public in general? Well, clearly we're going to be briefing people who participate in events and competitions, telling them what's going to happen, where and when, and what they should expect and what is normal. We'll also be broadcasting and distributing rules for competitions and providing guidance. Even if you think about it for a minute, doesn't that mean that the organisation as a whole will improve in the quality and delivery of its events? And we will benefit by that. Also, of course, there'll be reporting of how many risk assessments have been submitted and whether they're within time to the National Finance Officer at all levels. Plus, if there is an incident, it will be openly discussed. But the important thing for all of us is to have fun.
Plan comes together.
Oh dear, well, that may be, but we did do a risk assessment, and risk assessments are part of planning and essential to planning. You must do your risk assessment. If you want to run and plan an event in Plus or any other occasion, do a risk assessment. Thank you.